Kir Sabal in Tomb of Annihilation is an ancient monastery with smaller buildings carved into a cliffside, which is overrun with Aarakocra, so it's a big bird roost. But currently, the birdfolk protect the young descendants of the royalty of Omu, which is the lost city of Chult. If the players rescued Nephir from Firefinger, they'll already know that there's an elder bird here called Ashara, who can effectively give the gift of wings to anyone here by doing a Dance of the Seven Winds ritual. From the basin, getting up to this village, as it were, is 500 feet high. It takes 3 checks, because you have to ascend, climb up the walls and then get up these rotten, gap-ridden wooden walkways, rope bridges, Indiana Jones stuff. And they've all succumbed to the rot and the weather and the age of the area. There's 56 Aarakocra living here, and there seems to be birds taking flight and coming into roost all the time. This map is weirdly reminiscent of Dragon's Rest from the starter set. It winds up like that to a monastery. Very similar. I mentioned the royalty earlier. There's a 17-year-old girl called Princess Muoksenere, who I just ended up calling Max, and her younger brother, who's only 6, and he's called Na. They are the only humans here. Anyway, I played Max as a precocious teen who looks down her nose to anyone who are beneath her, which is everybody. This girl should never be queen, whereas Na is already showing kindness and friendliness, which puts him in the light that this kid would be a great king. Now, I skipped the princess trying to become romantically entangled with one of the party, but that's a call you can make. Ultimately, the princess seeks lost treasures, in particular one called the Skull Chalice of Chigakare or something, which is in the tomb down on level 5 in Omu, towards the end of the book. But with her attitude problem, it's probably best this doesn't fall into her hands. This opens up faking the item itself or just refusing to give it to her, resulting in her having a hissy fit, if they even bother returning to her, which I would posit they never will. To flesh out the princess a bit more, maybe she refuses to wear the outfit any longer that she's currently wearing. She thinks she deserves a clean, regal uniform. And the party's given the task of go out and find me a new outfit but fit for a queen. Princess Max is accustomed to getting everything she wants. Now, through a pact with the Wind Dukes from the Outer Planes, the princess has been given the gift of telepathy. So she knows what the players are thinking of her, which is a nice little device. As for young Na, he wears an Aarakocra costume and pretends to be a bird, which is so cute. Play him as really likeable and really polite and fun. So Kir Sabal itself has enemies in gargoyles from Omu, who sometimes attack. So there's something to use for a single scene as the party earn their keep while they stay here, by helping doing the chores of the monastery and the cleaning and stuff, and then these gargoyles attack and is a fight. Bear in mind that the Aarakocra or the gargoyles could lift up a player and plop you over 500 feet to your doom. So try and get some level of goddamn respect into these players. Ashara the Elder will probably be the main reason for a visit. They'll want this ritual to be done if they've heard about it. The Dance of the Seven Winds, however, needs a black orchid, a very rare flower, as a material component to the ritual. Yes, it's a fetch quest, basically. This ritual will effectively burn Ashara's wings away temporarily, so I like to think that the players get some sort of illusory wings in the meantime in replacement for Ashara's sacrifice. The black orchids can be found in Nangalore, where a Medusa constantly takes hallucinogenics to get high and therefore picture her husband in her mind's eye. This Medusa used to rule Omu. She's a fallen queen herself and is related to the children here. But now she's just a twisted dope fiend. She's Darth Vader to Anakin Skywalker. Although not actually evil, just a dope fiend and a Medusa. So I'm going through the buildings in order of ascent as if you're climbing from the ground up here. After the checks to get 500 feet up, they reach area 4 where the bird nest kind of roosts are. There are houses though. Imagine multi-level bird cages with ladders between the floors, and handcrafted totems, perhaps of the teacher, Ashara, and the floor are covered with feathers and teeth and shells and sawdust-like floors, like a birdcage, I'm thinking. Maybe there's actually a bird in the corner beaking away at these logs collected to create this sawdust floor constantly. Area 2 is a place where the birds ritualistically cleanse themselves before entering the monastery. In 2A, the washroom, bowls of water, as you might expect, and bowls of powdered chalk, which acts like talcum powder or blusher, and then a bowl of gold dust to sprinkle themselves with, and then paint pots. Some paint pots down here as well, because some of the Aarakocra have to paint like mazes on their beaks, and their hands and their feet before actually getting peppered with this gold glitter. Area 2B is candlelit, because it's a shrine. Now it's got a very well-worn statue in there, which is unrecognisable as the tabaxi it used to be. Offerings are laid here every day, and it's some people's jobs to then take these offerings up to the monastery. And then there's some wooden stairs that lead to Area 1, the monastery itself. 6 Aarakocra live here as monks, wearing prayer beads. The building itself has a symbol of Ubteo on the outside. In 1A, a table seating 20 possible people is where meetings are often held, and all meals are generally had in this area. Now there's like almost 60 bird people, so I imagine they do it in 3 shifts, let's say. 1B. The floor itself of this room has a symbol of Ubteo. This is used for holy days, weddings and funerals. So there's another idea for what they might walk in on seeing. 1C, very basic living quarters, with modest bunk beds and simple furnishings. There's nothing to steal here. 1D is another on-site place for cleansing and painting themselves. 1E, a clearly tabaxi statue here, with offerings around it and incense burning in this room. 1F, martial arts training's done in here, and then the birds sit down for meditation. Remember to describe them doing these Bruce Lee martial arts moves. If they do get into a fight, that's how you describe their talon attacks. Area 5, this is where the royals live, and so it's decked out in human-style furnishings. But I'd describe it as a typical teenager's bedroom, generally a mess. Although the dressing tables contain very elegant items, they're strewn all over. But I don't imagine that the bird folk have a real opinion on how humans should live, but that's your call, isn't it? Finally, Area 3 is Elder Ashara's home. This house has only one other Aarakocra permitted entry, and that is Yingmatona, Ashara's servant. The royal children, however, can come and go as they please. Princess Max only really comes for being tutored, but Na likes to read books in an upstairs room. The players are not allowed in here. It's a massive deal if they trespass. That will get you dropped from a large height. Area A, Yingmatona's place. She roosts in a room with a gaping floor in the hall, but she's a bird, she doesn't care. Otherwise, it's kind of considered a shrine with another statue in the corner, surrounded by offerings and obviously revered. There are weird mathematical symbols on the walls among the old decorating done here. Maybe insert a bird's eye view of a map to somewhere they've not been or seen or discovered, whatever. In B, upstairs is lit only by a couple of candles. There's a room built into the cliff face and one sort of outwards. The inwards one is Ashara's bedroom. A bed, a nightstand, clothing. There is a box under the bed with 4 potions of poison that look like potions of healing, but only Ashara knows they're actually poison. Now this outer room then, upstairs, serves as a small library. It has 44 ancient books. All the information is even before the spell plague in an earlier edition. So you might say that they mention the Shadow Weave, something from an older D&D edition, which is now gone. Something the spell plague got rid of, I believe. The PCs might have rescued a bird and travelled here to get the boon of flight. They may have just seen it carved into a rock face and thought, let's go there. Therefore, this settlement could prove to be friendly, we rescued your people, or foe, we just stumbled in and caused havoc. Better DMs than myself will weave them into their own story. And if so, please tell us all in the comments so we can get some inspiration. But I had them just be led to Nangalore to get the Black Orchid so that they could then have the ritual done and have flight for a bit. because it's temporary. In fact, the flight magic allows 3 days of flight at 4 miles per hour travel. But does that mean 3 days with the clock always ticking? Or when you're not flying, does it not count towards that time? I just sort of went eventually, it's probably run out now. And we all agreed that was fine.